What's the strangest family photo in your house, and what's the real story behind it? So there's this family photo that's been hanging in our living room since literally forever. I never paid much attention to it growing up, TBH. It was just part of the wall decor along with all the other framed pics of us looking awkward in matching outfits. This particular photo shows my parents, me, I was like 4, my older brother David, and my uncle Eddie at some park. We're all smiling. It's a sunny day. Typical boring family stuff. But last month I was home from college for spring break in IDKY, but I was staring at this picture while waiting for my mom to finish getting ready so we could go shopping. And that's when I noticed something weird in the background. There's this person standing by the trees, partially hidden, just watching us. They're wearing all black and their face is kind of blurry, but they're definitely staring right at our family. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. It was freaking me out, so I casually asked my mom about it when she came downstairs. I was like, hey, who's that person in the background of this pic? And OMG, the way her face just dropped. She glanced at the photo, laughed super awkwardly, and was like, oh, that's nothing. Probably just someone else at the park that day. But her reaction was so weird. Like, she immediately changed the subject and suggested we leave right away, even though she usually takes forever to get out the door. When we got home, I noticed she had moved the photo. Not taken it down completely, just moved it to a less prominent spot in the hallway. That's when I knew something was up far. I decided to ask my brother David about it, thinking maybe he'd remember since he was older in the pic, like 9. I texted him a close-up of the background person and was like, yo, who's this creeper in our old family photo? He left me on red for 2 days before finally responding with, why are you digging into this? It's nothing. If it was nothing, why the weird reaction from everyone? So I started looking through our old photo albums to see if I could find more pictures from that day. My mom keeps everything organized by year, so it wasn't hard to find the album from when I was 4. There were a bunch of pics from what looked like the same day. Same clothes, same park. But the weird thing was that Uncle Eddie wasn't in any of them except that one main photo on the wall. I decided to ask my parents directly over dinner. I was like, so when was the last time Uncle Eddie visited? I was looking at that old photo and realized I barely remember him coming around when I was little. My dad cleared his throat and said Eddie had been busy with his life on the West Coast and didn't visit much when we were young. My mom quickly added that they stayed in touch by phone. But here's the thing. I've literally never heard them mention phone calls with Uncle Eddie. Ever. And we've never visited him either, which seems weird for my mom who's super big on family connections. I started paying more attention to how they talked about him. They only ever mentioned him in past tense or in very vague terms. When I asked specific questions about what he does for work or if he has kids, they'd give these short, uncomfortable answers and change the subject. I decided to look up Uncle Eddie on social media but couldn't find anything. No Facebook, Instagram, nothing. For a guy supposedly in his 40s, that's not super weird, I guess, but combined with everything else, it felt off. Then I was hanging out with my cousin Clara, mom's sister's kid, who was visiting for the weekend. We were going through old photos together and I casually showed her the one with Uncle Eddie. She looked confused and was like, who's that? I thought mom only had sisters? When I explained he was dad's brother, she gave me this weird look and said, but your dad only has one brother, Uncle Steven. I'd always assumed Eddie was from my dad's side since he never talked about his extended family much. I didn't want to freak Clara out, so I laughed it off. That night I confronted my parents. I put the family photo and just waited for them to come in. My dad finally told me everything. Eddie was his younger brother, but he had serious mental health issues. He'd become obsessed with my mom after meeting her at their wedding. For years he'd seemed manageable. They kept him at a distance but allowed occasional visits. That day at the park was one of those visits. They let him be in the photo, thinking everything was fine. But what my parents didn't know then was that Eddie had stopped taking his medication. The strange figure in the background of our photo? That was Jacob, Eddie's friend who'd driven him to the park that day. Someone my parents had never met before. That night, Eddie and Jacob broke into our house. Their plan was to kidnap me and David. My mom woke up when she heard something in our rooms and screamed. My dad fought them off while she called police. They were arrested in our front yard.